Welcome to People Profiles. Today, we are going to look into a real-life story of a man who spent 18 years of his life in an airport. But before we dive into the story, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you will not miss any videos about the lives of interesting people. Mehran Karimi Nasseri, the man who lived 18 years in an airport. Mehran Karimi Nasseri, also known as Sir Alfred Mehran, was an Iranian refugee who spent about 18 years living in the departure lounge of Terminal 1 in Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, France. His unusual and tragic story drew global attention and inspired several books and films, including the 2004 movie The Terminal, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Hanks. His life story is marked by bureaucratic misfortunes, a lengthy legal limbo, and a tenacious will to survive in one of the world's busiest airports. Mehran Karimi Nasseri was born in 1942 in Masjid Soliman, a city in Iran. His mother was believed to be a British nurse working in Iran, which may have influenced his lifelong fascination with Britain. Nasseri's early life is not well documented, but he reportedly left Iran in 1973 to study in the United Kingdom. However, he became politically active, opposing the Iranian monarchy under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. After participating in protests, Nasseri claimed he was arrested upon his return to Iran and ultimately expelled from the country without Iranian citizenship. In 1977, Nasseri became a stateless person after he was stripped of his Iranian nationality. For years, he wandered across Europe, seeking asylum and permission to settle. Various countries denied his request due to issues with documentation and his lack of a clear nationality. Eventually, he ended up in Belgium, where he successfully applied for refugee status with the help of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, in 1981. With refugee papers in hand, he was free to settle in many European countries, but Nasseri had a specific dream of reaching the United Kingdom. Nasseri's troubles intensified in 1988 when he attempted to board a flight from France to the United Kingdom. He claimed that during his travel, his briefcase containing his refugee documents was stolen at a train station in Paris. When he arrived at Charles de Gaulle Airport, he had no passport, visa, or proof of refugee status. As a result, the French authorities could neither deport him without proper identification nor allow him to enter France. His situation placed him in a legal limbo, and he ended up stranded in the airport's Terminal 1. Initially, Nasseri expected his predicament to be resolved quickly. However, bureaucratic complications, his statelessness, and his lack of identification meant that he had no way to move forward. Over the months, he became a fixture in the terminal, and the airport staff grew accustomed to him. Nasseri settled into a routine at Charles de Gaulle, creating a small living area in the terminal. His daily life involved reading newspapers, writing in his diary, and observing the constant flow of travelers. The airport staff, such as cleaning workers and security personnel, provided him with food and occasional companionship. Over time, Nasseri's presence in the airport drew media attention, and he became a minor celebrity. Despite the bizarre nature of his situation, Nasseri maintained a certain dignity. He dressed neatly, kept his belongings organized, and maintained a friendly relationship with airport staff and travelers who came to know him. He would frequently introduce himself as Sir Alfred, a name he had adopted, reportedly as a mark of his own sense of identity and perhaps as an attempt to maintain a semblance of dignity amid his unusual circumstances. Throughout his years at the airport, various legal and humanitarian efforts were made to resolve Nasseri's case. French and Belgian authorities, the UNHCR, and human rights organizations attempted to secure the necessary paperwork for him to leave. In 1999, after more than a decade of being stranded, French authorities granted him permission to stay in France. However, by this time, Nasseri had developed a complex relationship with his situation and reportedly refused to sign the documents, either because he no longer identified as Iranian or because he had developed a sense of attachment to his life in the terminal. Some reports suggest that Nasseri was hesitant to leave due to psychological issues, possibly stemming from the trauma and isolation he had experienced over the years. His prolonged stay at the airport led some to believe he had become institutionalized and possibly afraid of leaving his familiar surroundings. Nasseri's story became an international phenomenon, sparking the interest of journalists, filmmakers, and writers. In 2004, Steven Spielberg directed The Terminal, a film loosely inspired by Nasseri's life, with Tom Hanks playing a character named Victor Navorsky, who finds himself in a similar predicament in a fictional New York airport. Although the film was not an exact depiction of Nasseri's life, it brought renewed attention to his plight and raised awareness about the experiences of stateless persons around the world. In addition to the movie, Nasseri's story inspired books and documentaries. He received a portion of the film's earnings, which would have enabled him to live outside the airport. However, his own choices and psychological state seemed to bind him to the terminal, where he continued to live even as the world outside offered him options. In 2006, Nasseri's health began to decline. He was taken to a hospital for medical treatment, and his departure from Charles de Gaulle Airport ended his 18-year stay. After his hospitalization, he spent time in a shelter run by the French Red Cross. Later, he lived in various places around Paris with support from aid organizations and royalties from the media projects based on his life. His health remained fragile in his later years, and he lived a relatively low-profile life until his passing. Mehran Karimi Nasseri died in November 2022 at Charles de Gaulle Airport, where he had chosen to return and live during his final weeks. His life story continues to be an extraordinary example of the complexities surrounding statelessness, identity, and bureaucracy. Nasseri's life was a profound reminder of how bureaucratic systems can fail individuals and how a sense of identity and belonging can shape human experience in unique ways. In his death, Nasseri left a legacy that serves as a testament to resilience and a cautionary tale about the impact of statelessness, a plight faced by millions around the world. His story resonates as a powerful reminder of the importance of compassion and legal support for individuals displaced from their homeland and stripped of their nationality. Thank you for watching. See you next time for another interesting people profile.